Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am making a Valentine's Day card using the Fly With Me from Mama Elephant. So I started by laying out my card design, and as you can see here I also die cut a piece of the Lacy Heart Stackables from Fawn. This I did out of Neenah, and my panel is also out of Neenah. So I'm first going to start with my background, so therefore I am adhering this heart with some purple tape, and I have masked off the edges of this heart by also die cutting it out of some full stick post-it notes, and then I used my craft knife to cut down the stitched details, and this way I got this border. So now I have taken my cloud stencil from my favorite things, and I am adding some worn lipstick onto my background. So with this full stick post-it note I will not be inking up the lacy details from the heart, which is my idea of doing this time around. So I'm just adding all these clouds. And now I will continue with my image. So I'm stamping out this adorable elephant from Fly With Me out on some Strathmore Bristol Smooth with my ink on 3 FadeOut Noline coloring detail ink. And I'm doing this twice to get a really good impression. And then I will be coloring with my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. So I will list down below the colors which I am using for this image. And just for those who haven't watched my channel yet, when I'm doing no-line coloring, I always add some ink onto the image, the edges of the image, and then I take my blender and I blend it all out. And to get more depth, I come back in with the same ink and keep blending it out as I go. And this way I get my images colored in. So I will put on some music while I am coloring the rest of the image, and I will be back afterwards. Now that the coloring is done, I am going to die cut it out using the matching dies, and I am adhering it by adding some purple tape to make sure that when I die cut it, my die will not shift. And then I will continue on my sentiment. So I decided to heat emboss my sentiment on top of my balloon. So I took my powder tool to prep this image for the heat embossing, and I will be using the Love You from Fly with Friends from Mama Elephant. I'm placing it into my Misty to get a really crisp image of the sentiment, and then I will ink it up with some Versamark clear embossing ink so that I can add my embossing powder from Nuvo. The embossing powder that I am using is called Glacier White from Nuvo, and I really love it because it gives a really smooth result each time again. So I'm just pouring it onto this image, and then I am tapping off all the excess embossing powder. After making some space, I can start with the heat embossing. Next up is my panel. So I didn't remove the mask yet, so I am peeling off this heart because the purple tape has to be removed, and then I am peeling off my mask as well. So now you can see that white border that I was going for, and I will be adding this heart by using some Gina K Design Connect glue, and I'm lining it up with the clouds. So this way I have that white border, but the clouds are also running through the image, so that's what I was going for, and I'm really happy with the result. My image is going to be a bit lift up, so I'm using thin foam squares from Scrapbook Adhesives. I really like this height, it's just perfect. And then I decided that something more needed to be added onto this panel. So I took the Scalloped box card pop-up and I die cut the hearts out of Neenah, and I just scattered them onto my panel, and I will be adhering them with Gina K Design Connect glue as well. Next I am going to prep my card base, because before I continue with adding some more details, I want it to be adhered on top of the card base so that it cannot be smeared or anything like that. So I'm prepping my card base, and I will be trimming off all the excess. I buy my card bases pre-cut, and there are most of the time tiny pieces that are a bit too large for a perfect A2, so I just trim it off and then I continue. To adhere my panel, I am using some permanent print adhesive roller, and then I am lining it up as straight as possible, and then I will go back to my trimmer to trim off all the excess. And then I will be adding my final details, which will be the Nuvo glitter drops called White Blizzard, and I will be adding it onto those 3 hearts, and then my card will be finished. So I want to thank you all for stopping by and taking the time to watch my videos, as I'm only starting with it. I'm really appreciative of you guys taking the time to watch it. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. If you have suggestions for upcoming videos or cards, you can also leave it there. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!